Chapter 49. Chapter 49. Spending money to avert misfortune. Rumble tilde tilde. At this moment in the distance, the sound of galloping horses suddenly echoed. A group of burly men, dressed in tight-fitting outfits, with eyebrows dyed red and faces full of arrogance, rode their steeds towards Osmanthus village. They arrived directly in front of the crowd. Looking down from above, extremely arrogant. Their gaze on the crowd was akin to looking at ants. Red Eyebrow Army. The fishermen were startled upon seeing this group suddenly appear. They recalled many rumors about the Red Eyebrow Army. It's rumored that the soldiers of the Red Eyebrow Army dyed their eyebrows red intentionally to distinguish their identities. When numerous soldiers gathered, it was truly terrifying. I am Peng Wei, under the command of Bat King Xianxia. Today, by Lord Yang's order, I'm here to recruit various villages. I believe everyone has heard of the name of our Red Eyebrow Army. Our mission is to uphold justice and act with chivalry. Currently, the court is unjust. The emperor is clueless, extorting the people, harming the citizens, so we are rebelling, vowing to overthrow this corrupt court and restore justice. So, I hope every villager can contribute money and effort. If the Red Eyebrow Army can overthrow the tyrant's rule, each villager will enjoy a life of wealth and prosperity. This middle-aged man in armor, Peng Wei, riding a tall horse, addressed the crowd. A terrible evil chi emanated from him, as if he was a martial artist emerging from a sea of blood. His power reached the strong sinew realm. If he acted personally, he might slaughter Osmanthus village single-handedly. The fishermen were terrified, trembling before these battle-hardened soldiers. "Sir, what do you mean by contributing money and effort?" Village chief Jiang Fan stepped forward, trembling to ask. He realized the villagers were too frightened to speak. Only he, as the village chief, dared to inquire. "Good question. It's actually simple. The Red Eyebrow Army collects money from your village. Each household pays per person. The more people, the higher the charge. If you can't pay, we're not difficult. Just join the Red Eyebrow Army and fight with us," Peng Wei said with a smile, looking at the crowd. "What?" The fishermen's faces changed upon hearing this. It seemed no different from the Dragon King gang. They thought life would be better after the Dragon King gang was destroyed. Little did they know, it was merely another group extorting them. If they didn't pay, they'd probably be conscripted to join the Red Eyebrow Army and fight. Problem is, once a soldier who knows when they'd die. It's said that every battle of the Red Eyebrow Army had a death rate over 50%. Soldiers were replaced again and again. Thus, joining the Red Eyebrow Army likely meant becoming cannon fodder. These soldiers were obviously tough characters. Daring to refuse might lead to a dead end. The only option is to lose money to ward off disaster. Also, there's one more thing. Recently, Lord Xianxia is taking concubines. If you have women at home and they are beautiful, they can register voluntarily. If chosen by Lord Xianxia, they'll have a lifetime of endless riches. I hope everyone can seize this great opportunity," Peng Wei said. Evidently, the Red Eyebrow Army came to recruit women for Bat King Xianxia, besides gathering grains and silver. Bat King Xianxia collected beauty wherever he went, satisfying his needs. Indeed, a bunch of useless fools. Upon hearing this, Jiang Fan frowned. He didn't expect the Red Eyebrow Army to be like this, already indulging before capturing the land. Such rebels were doomed to fail. They'd eventually be wiped out by the court. Nonetheless, the Red Eyebrow Army's current power wasn't to be provoked by ordinary people. Even if they were defeated, it was uncertain when. For now, these people could do as they pleased here. Fortunately, he had anticipated this and had Su Weiwei disguise herself. Surely meeting Su Weiwei, they wouldn't make her serve Bat King Xianxia. If they dared, he wouldn't mind starting a massacre. The fishermen's faces turned unpleasant upon hearing this. The Red Eyebrow Army demanded money and women, worse than the Dragon King gang, filling them with anger. But seeing these soldiers on tall horses, strong and armed, made them cowardly. In comparison to martial artists, ordinary people were far too weak. Of course, certainly. The Red Eyebrow Army acts for justice, opposes tyranny. They are saints of the common folk. It's natural to support them with some wealth. If women in the village catch the eye of the Lord, it's Osmanthus village's honor. Village chief Jiang Fan nodded humbly. He chose to compromise. Making this decision was easy. Refusing might mean the village's destruction, but agreeing only cost some wealth. At least some could survive. Not bad, you're a good village chief. Understanding the times makes one wise. Each household register in turn. Peng Wei found contentment. He thought the villagers of Osmanthus village were gentle, not overly resistant. This saved him time and effort. Initially, he thought of killing a few villagers to show the Red Eyebrow Army's might. Now it seemed unnecessary. Yes, sir. Village Chief Jiang Fan nodded continuously, quickly calling villagers forward. Though Osmanthus village's fishermen lived tightly, they stored much of the Dragon King gang's monthly salary. Now the Dragon King gang is gone, the salary hasn't been submitted. They thought it might be kept, but now it's merely a change in payment recipient. Such matters were commonplace for fishermen. They came forward for registration and payment. Not long after, it was Jiang Fan and Su Weiwei's turn. Lord Peng, here's my Jiang family's money. Right now, only the two of us remain. Jiang Fan handed a bag of money to Peng Wei and others. Su Weiwei stood beside him, visibly nervous. She had never experienced such a scene before. Chapter 50. Twofold preparations, strength is the hero's courage. Oh, a woman from the family. Lift your head and let me see. Peng Wei's face was indifferent as he spoke to Su Weiwei. Hearing this, Su Weiwei looked up, revealing a sallow and black face full of freckles. Clearly a village ugly woman. The kind that made people's stomachs churn. Get aside. Where did this ugly woman come from? Get out of here immediately. Peng Wei shouted, swearing. Although his master, the Bat King Yang Qin, indeed had an insatiable appetite for women, he wasn't desperate. If it's not a beauty, how could Yang Qin be interested? If he really brought such a rural, ugly woman back, his master would probably tear him apart. He might think there's discontent against him. It could be a capital crime. Many villagers watching were amazed at this scene. They hadn't expected that after some time, Su Weiwei had turned like this. She was a beautiful lass before, but now she's so ugly. Undoubtedly, it must be Jiang Fan, that guy's doing. Couldn't even support his wife. After starving for so long and falling ill, she was damaged beyond recognition. Each looked at Su Weiwei with pity. However, they didn't find it strange, as most women in Osmanthus village looked like this. Starving for so long, where would there be good-looking ones? Yes, sir. Jiang Fan nodded, immediately pulling Su Weiwei's hand to stand aside, calm and composed. It seemed his disguise technique was indeed good, easily fooling them. The afternoon passed. The villagers handed over their money, avoiding disaster by losing wealth. However, in Osmanthus village, not a single woman caught Peng Wei's eye, which displeased him greatly. What kind of lousy village is this? Not a single pretty woman. What kind of crooked melons and cracked dates are the women of this village? How am I supposed to report to Lord Yang Qin then? Peng Wei cursed under his breath. Hearing this, the women of Osmanthus village were furious and annoyed. They were indeed ugly, but not worthy of such cursing. But they couldn't be blamed. Women of this era couldn't eat well or dress warmly, were slim, with dark skin and quickly aged under the elements, with no cosmetics to defy fate. Looking ugly was natural. Most beauties came from the noble families. Yet they felt fortunate. It was actually a blessing not to be wanted. At least wouldn't fall into the hands of thieves and die miserably. Let's go. However, Peng Wei didn't stay further. He waved a hand, signaled a group of Red Eyebrow Army soldiers, and immediately left. Since there were no women that Lord Yang Qin needed here, he would search elsewhere. Instantly, Red Eyebrow Army soldiers swiftly vanished within Osmanthus village. This allowed many fishermen to breathe a sigh of relief. Though they lost much money, they weren't deprived of their lives. That was a blessing within disaster. Thump. Just then, a message came from the depths of Jiang Fan's consciousness. Obey and pay the money. Have your wife Su Weiwei disguise herself. The Red Eyebrow Army leader Peng Wei thinks you pose no threat. Successfully evaded a murder crisis. Gain 120 luck points and 1 ninth grade opportunity. What? Perceiving this message, Jiang Fan instantly rejoiced. As with these 120 luck points, he now had 410, not far off from obtaining 500 luck points. That meant he might soon become a bone-forging realm martial artist. After this experience, his need for martial might become ever more urgent. Mere strong sinew realm strength was too weak for this chaotic world. At least he'd have to become a refining organ realm martial artist, even a grandmaster, to be adequate. Yet another ninth-grade opportunity. Jiang Fan lightly tapped, then another message came. 5 days later in the afternoon, head northeast 13 miles from Osmanthus village's dock, cast nets to fish, then obtain the ninth-grade opportunity. Perceiving this message, he felt quite joyful. This ninth-grade opportunity was likely treasure fish. For the number of treasure fish, more was better. Because after becoming a strong sinew realm martial artist, his appetite grew larger. If he could get some treasure fish, he could greatly save on food. At the same time, treasure fish was also very beneficial for martial Dao cultivation. Right, I still have an 8th-grade opportunity. But it can be obtained in 3 days. Jiang Fan was very expectant, thinking if he could get these 2 opportunities, then his advancement to bone forging realm would definitely have no problem. Whoosh! Before long, villagers went home. Jiang Fan also took Su Weiwei back to his house. Husband, it was really dangerous earlier. Luckily husband helped disguise me before, changed my appearance. Or else I'd surely be captured by those bastards. Su Weiwei showed a look of residual fear. Without a doubt, if she showed her original appearance, she'd definitely tempt those from the Red Eyebrow Army. She'd be captured and taken to the Red Eyebrow Army. Thankfully, her husband was very cautious, with exceptional skills, or it would surely be a disaster. It's very challenging for ordinary people to survive in such chaotic times. A slight carelessness could lead to death. It's truly a treacherous path. Don't worry, even if those guys really try to grab you, I won't let them succeed. Jiang Fan embraced Su Weiwei, comforting her. That's indeed the case. He had prepared 2 plans long before. If the disguise technique could fool those Red Eyebrow Army soldiers, all the better, passing this disaster easily. If those Red Eyebrow Army soldiers found out about Su Weiwei's trick and intended to act against her, then he wouldn't show mercy. Using the strength of the strong sinew realm, mastery-level swordsmanship, and the divine blade Chengying sword, he had no problem slaughtering these Red Eyebrow Army soldiers. From a certain perspective, those Red Eyebrow Army soldiers had decent luck. Otherwise, today would be their death day. Of course, after doing these things, staying in Osmanthus village wouldn't be feasible, needing to flee far away. Fortunately, it hadn't reached the worst situation. Husband, love me. Su Weiwei gazed at Jiang Fan with fiery eyes, feeling she needed the love of her man to soothe her soul and calm her inner unease. Hearing this, Jiang Fan couldn't resist, immediately lifting the fiery woman by the waist, carrying her straight into the bedroom. Soon the bed swayed, covers turned. Outside, the north wind howled, biting cold, but it didn't affect the heated atmosphere inside. Chapter 51, The Immortal Has Perished. At the same time, Tong County. The former residence of the Li family, once the largest and most luxurious mansion in Tong County, has now been completely taken over by the Red Eyebrow Army's Bat King, Yang Qin. It has become Yang Qin's palace, where he frequently dallies with the captured noblewomen from large families. You could say the days are filled with debauchery and extravagance. However, the whole of Tong County is in utter chaos. A large number of Red Eyebrow Army soldiers are looting, burning, and seizing money and women. Residents of Tong County are dying constantly. It's a veritable purgatory on earth. At this very moment in a hall, the floor is covered with blood and corpses lie around. A middle-aged man dressed in black with a ferocious face is stained red with blood from head to toe, like a terrifying demon. This middle-aged man is the Bat King, Yang Qin. He cultivates an evil cultivation technique, the Bat Demon technique. This technique is immensely powerful, and once mastered, it enhances the 5 senses, grants incredible speed, and his hands become like eagle claws. With this technique, he has reached the refining organ realm, just a step away from becoming a martial arts grandmaster. The problem is that this technique also has significant side effects, accumulating a massive amount of cold energy within the body. To neutralize this cold energy, he needs to absorb human essence blood. Otherwise, the cold would freeze him to death. This also makes Yang Qin a genuine evil figure with a fierce thirst for blood. Countless people have met their tragic end by his hand. The hall is practically empty except for Yang Qin. His subordinates know well his unpredictable temper. This kind of situation has happened numerous times, so no one dares to approach Yang Qin here. Whoosh! At this moment, a man in red clothing enters from outside. He is Yang Qin's subordinate, Ji Liang, a bone forger realm martial artist. When he arrives in the hall and sees the bloody scene full of corpses, he remains expressionless, as if this is commonplace. He directly says, "Boss, Commander Chen Yachuan sent a message. He said you should end the chaos in Tong County quickly, and then bring troops to Yun's prefecture city. Failure to follow orders will result in punishment." He states the message he received bluntly. Outrageous. Does Chen Yachuan think by becoming a martial arts grandmaster he can really place himself above me, Yang Qin? Daring to order me around, this is simply unreasonable. If I don't give him face, he's nothing. Yang Qin erupts in anger upon hearing this, slamming his palm on the ground. A terrifying force shatters the floor, creating a huge pit. This single palm strike alone demonstrates the power of a refining organ realm martial artist. A warrior at this level has incredibly strong internal organs, and every part of their body is honed to the utmost, almost like a humanoid beast. He can fight against an army of hundreds with his bare hands, and come and go freely, his enemies unable to stop him. Witnessing this scene, Ji Liang remains expressionless, saying nothing, as if accustomed to it. A moment later, Yang Qin calms down, seeming as if the anger in his heart has been vented. Fine, since it's Chen Yachuan's order, I must heed it. Of course, I'm not following Chen Yachuan's orders, but that of a martial arts grandmaster. If I become a grandmaster one day, let's see if I care about him. Who will control the Red Eyebrow Army in the future is still uncertain. Yang Qin muttered angrily. Though he is defiant, he recognizes the ruthlessness of the Red Eyebrow Army's leader, Chen Yachuan. If he truly dared to disobey orders, he might become a warning example. Despite his considerable combat strength, he is still no match for a martial arts grandmaster. Someone who can subdue 36 mountain brigands and lead the Red Eyebrow Army is not simple. In that case, I'll give the orders at once. Let the brothers prepare to move immediately. Ji Liang promptly says. No rush. We finally captured Tong County. We can't just abandon it. Leave some men to guard Tong County. After all, here lies the 800-mile Yunmeng Lake, a rumored place of immortals. Yang Qin's eyes sparkle with a hidden excitement. Sir, is there really an immortal in this world? Ji Liang asks curiously, knowing his leader has always been pursuing the existence of immortals, though to no avail for many years. Of course there are immortals. The Wei Kingdom has stood for so long because of immortal support. But those immortals call themselves cultivators, saying they're not truly immortal yet. Nonetheless, they are much stronger than us martial artists. Even martial arts grandmasters are no match. Yang Qin says lazily. If that's the case, can our Red Eyebrow Army still overthrow the Wei Kingdom? After all, the Wei Kingdom has immortal backing. Ji Liang asks nervously. If immortals were still present, then naturally the Wei royal family's foundation could not be shaken. But the immortals are dead now. That's why the Wei Kingdom is in turmoil, with many vying for supremacy. Who strong will establish a new dynasty. But I'm not interested in who becomes emperor. I just want to know how to become an immortal. Yang Qin's eyes flash with a cold light, chilling to the bone. Originally, Ji Liang wanted to inquire further about immortals, but seeing Yang Qin's impatient look, he quickly shut up. As Yang Qin's trusted aide, he knows when to speak and when to remain silent. 3 days later. At noon, Yunmeng Lake. For the most part, Osmanthus village has returned to its former tranquility. Without the Dragon King gang and the Red Eyebrow Army causing trouble, Osmanthus village is relatively safe. Many fishermen have resumed their daily fishing. Because if they don't fish, they'll have nothing to eat. At this moment, Jiang Fan paddles an upturned boat to Shu Mountain Island. Following the hints from the depths of his consciousness about his 8th grade opportunity, he arrives at a small mountain on Shu Mountain Island. All around are lush, verdant plants, dense foliage, rarely visited by people. Being a small island, one can see nearly everything at a glance. It doesn't seem like an island hiding any treasure. However, Jiang Fan still reaches the small mountain and indeed finds a cave within. He goes straight inside, walking to the deepest part of the cave. Lo and behold, he finds a corpse that has been dead for who knows how long at the deepest part of the cave. Only a skeleton remains. Besides the skeleton, there is a black bundle. Who knows what it contains? Is this the 8th grade opportunity? Without hesitation, Jiang Fan steps forward and opens the bundle. Immediately, a series of items appear inside. Chapter 52. Chapter 52. Mysterious Token, Tiger and Leopard Pill. First, Jiang Fan discovered a white jade bottle containing 3 elixirs. As soon as he opened the lid, a rich medicinal aroma immediately surged out. This greatly invigorated him, as if every cell was restless, generating a sense of hunger. It was as if he couldn't wait to swallow these 3 elixirs. Wait, is this the tiger and leopard pill? Jiang Fan's eyes instantly brightened, extremely excited. The cow's poison scripture he studied not only recorded various poisons, but also many elixirs, specifically suitable for martial artists. Once consumed, they can accelerate the martial artist's progress and improve cultivation efficiency. Often, just a single elixir can save you several months, even over a year, of arduous cultivation. The disciples of noble families cultivate so quickly, thanks to various treasure medicines and elixirs. If he could take these elixirs, he would surpass the decades of hard training of ordinary martial artists in just a few years. It is conceivable how vast the difference is. The tiger and leopard pill is a renowned body-tempering elixir. Made from tiger gall, leopard heart, and various precious herbs, the value of a single tiger and leopard pill is beyond measure in silver taels. More importantly, such tiger and leopard pills cannot be bought merely with money, as some of the ingredients have long been monopolized by noble families. If you are not someone with connections, no one will sell them to you, no matter how wealthy you are. Consuming these 3 tiger and leopard pills would undoubtedly accelerate his cultivation. It would also save him a significant amount of luck points. Is there no other treasure? Only a single token left. Jiang Fan blinked in surprise. Initially, he thought there were many treasures in the package. Unexpectedly, apart from the bottle of elixirs and token, there was nothing else. The appearance of the token was quite peculiar, neither gold, copper, nor iron, with unknown composition. On the token, a character symbol appeared. It emitted a profound and mysterious aura, giving him the feeling that this token was not of mortal origin. If it's not mortal, could it be an immortal treasure? Jiang Fan couldn't help but think. After all, he had previously acquired an immortal treasure, Space Ring, so gaining another immortal treasure would not be impossible, but its purpose was unknown. Thinking about this, he wanted to use the power of luck points to refine this treasure. However, he quickly discovered that his luck points were insufficient. He already possessed 410 luck points, which is considerable, but still not enough. It's conceivable that this token is incredibly special, even more precious than the Space Ring. There's no doubt that this token is truly the 8th grade opportunity. He just doesn't know its purpose for now. Swish. With this thought, Jiang Fan quickly placed the token and tiger and leopard pills into the Space Ring and swiftly left. Although he knew this place was rarely visited and no one would discover him. For safety's sake, he decided to return home first. As expected, as Jiang Fan predicted, no one noticed his previous arrival on Shu Mountain Island. It seemed all the fishermen instinctively avoided encountering him. Perhaps not. It might be due to choosing such a unique time that allowed Jiang Fan to avoid all unexpected factors, unobtrusively obtaining this opportunity without anyone noticing or any calamity arising. This is the protection of destiny. Afternoon. Jiang Fan safely returned home. Eagerly, he consumed one of the tiger and leopard pills. Boom tilde tilde. Instantly, as Jiang Fan operated the soaring snake breathing technique, the elixir was rapidly digested upon entering his body. A massive mysterious substance spread throughout his body, reaching every corner. It felt like warm currents wrapping around his body, causing his body temperature to rise swiftly, as if soaking in a hot spring. The medicinal power was so fierce that it made his hair stand on end. If a person with weak physical constitution consumed this tiger and leopard pill, they would be overwhelmed by the replenishment. It might even lead to bleeding from 7 orifices and death. However, for a martial artist, it's an absolute tonic, quickly enhancing the martial artist's cultivation efficiency, refining every corner within. Rumble tilde tilde tilde. Suddenly, Jiang Fan stood on the ground, operating the soaring snake breathing technique. Steam emerged from his body, shrouding the room in mist as if enveloped by clouds. Like a soaring snake appearing from clouds. Simultaneously, his meridians were astonishingly strengthened. His cultivation progress in the strong sinew realm steadily improved. 30%, 40%, 50%, 60%. In an instant, his cultivation progress reached 80% of the strong sinew realm. With continued cultivation, he would certainly break through to the bone-forging realm. It's evident how important elixirs are for martial artists. A single elixir can save martial artists months, even a year of arduous cultivation. With long-term use, they could rapidly ascend to high realms. But not every martial artist's family is affluent. Even a single tiger and leopard pill is quite valuable. Not something ordinary, noble families can afford. Wait, now do I have enough luck points to advance to the bone-forging realm? Suddenly, Jiang Fan's eyes widened. He immediately realized his martial arts realm could continue to ascend. Originally, advancing to the bone-forging realm required at least 500 luck points. But now, after consuming this tiger and leopard pill, the needed luck points have reduced. Essentially, just consuming 400 luck points was completely sufficient. Since it's enough, then let's advance. Jiang Fan clenched his fist, feeling tremendously excited. He had no intention of hesitating. After experiencing the threat from the Red Eyebrow Army, he realized his weakness deeply. Strong sinew realm alone was insufficient for survival in such turbulent times. If surrounded by an army, even he couldn't guarantee escape, let alone taking Su Weiwei with him. Thus, he longed to enhance his martial arts realm, strengthening his capabilities. Conventional methods to advance the martial arts realm were too slow, far inferior to the effect of luck points. Moreover, using luck points for elevation makes cultivation perfect without flaws. Also without any hidden dangers. Thud. At this moment, Jiang Fan immediately used his luck points to elevate his martial arts realm. A mysterious warm current surged from the depths of his consciousness sea, quickly flooding his body. This mysterious warm current's effect on physical enhancement was unimaginably greater than the tiger and leopard pill. Each of his meridians seemed thoroughly refined and strengthened, making him as robust as a bull. Chapter 53, Promotion to Bone-Forging Realm. Bone-Forging Realm. In an instant, Jiang Fan perceived a tremendous increase in his strength, speed, and five senses. Compared to before, it was simply a world-shaking transformation. Mysterious substances from heaven and earth instantly permeated into every bone of his body. This strengthened every bone in his body. It must be understood that bones are an essential part of supporting human strength. If every bone is thoroughly tempered, human power and speed will reach incredible heights, unimaginable to ordinary people. A martial artist in the bone-forging realm can strike with a punch that is enough to kill a calf or seriously injure a fierce tiger. Even the former leader of the Dragon King gang, Li Lei, was only at the bone-forging realm. It can be imagined how rare a martial artist at the bone-forging realm truly is. If such a powerful martial artist joined the court, they would undoubtedly become a court general. Joining any force, they would surely be a distinguished guest. Now my strength has reached at least 5,000 pounds. Jiang Fan squeezed his fists, feeling his current abundant power. With a single punch, he could easily perceive the sound of air being torn apart. An ordinary martial artist, if he took such a punch, his internal organs would be shattered instantly. Even without mastering any martial arts, relying solely on such power, he could be invincible. Like a humanoid fierce beast. It seems that the level of disguise technique has also improved. Reached the level of mastery. Jiang Fan's heart moved, and after advancing to the bone-forging realm, he could sense every bone in his body through the soaring snake breathing technique, even manipulate each bone. With such abilities, his disguise technique naturally improved, reaching the level of mastery. At this level, he could easily shrink his body bones to alter his body size, thus completely changing his physical form. In this way, once he utilized the disguise technique to change his appearance and form, no one could find him. Honestly, this was also the skill that the notorious flower thief Cao Jun relied on to become famous. When Cao Jun was pursued by the court and noble families, the net of heaven and earth seemed to be laid down. But it was still useless. Because Cao Jun's disguise technique was too powerful, not only could he change his appearance, but he could also alter his physique. He could shrink from a strong adult male to a dwarf in an instant. In this way, who could discern Cao Jun's true identity? Often, when Cao Jun slipped into a crowd, he was like a drop of water merging into the sea. Others trying to find him was virtually impossible. Thinking of this, Jiang Fan also opened his virtual panel. Name Jiang Fan. Life chart, great blessings equal to heaven attribute, near death will bring future fortune. Lifespan 90. Luck points 10. Cultivation technique, soaring snake technique incomplete 4th layer. Skills fishing, mastery. Disguise technique, mastery cow's poison scripture, mastery aurora swordsmanship, mastery. Realm bone forging realm 10%. My lifespan has also increased by 10 years, now I can live to 90. Jiang Fan felt very satisfied. After advancing to the bone-forging realm, he noticed an unprecedented strength in his body, with his qi and blood boiling, full of vitality and abundant life force. If without illness or disaster, living to 90 is no big issue at all. Undoubtedly, this age in ancient times was considered auspicious. After all, the average lifespan of ordinary people in ancient times was just 39 years. Those living past 40 or 50 were considered quite long-lived. Many died in their 30s. In times of war, deaths occurred even earlier. Some couldn't even live to 10, dying before reaching adulthood. Has my fishing skill also advanced to mastery level? Jiang Fan squinted his eyes. Clearly for him, the improvement in martial arts cultivation was an all-encompassing enhancement, even without using luck points to enhance his skills. As his strength and speed increased, various arts naturally elevated to considerable levels. Among them, fishing and disguise technique were the easiest skills to improve. The cultivation of the bone-forging realm is actually quite simple. It's through a special breathing technique, guiding mysterious substances between heaven and earth into the body, thereby tempering every bone in the body to achieve amazing transformation. Once completed, it becomes the perfection of the bone-forging realm. Afterward, there's an opportunity to advance to the refining organ realm. Jiang Fan's eyes shone. He felt that the process of martial cultivation was indeed the process of human evolution, gradually refining oneself to evolve from an ordinary mortal body to an extraordinary one. In fact, his body already possessed some features of an extraordinary physique. Not to mention the surging strength and speed, just his keen 5 senses were incomparable to ordinary humans, already starting to diverge from mortal traits. Martial artists and ordinary people seemed to no longer be the same species. Of course, for Jiang Fan, advancing to the bone-forging realm represented possessing stronger self-preservation abilities. Even if Osmanthus village fell into turmoil, besieged by bandits, he would have the power to resist. At least, he wouldn't die tragically under the enemy's blade. By evening, Jiang Fan finally fully familiarized himself with the surging strength and stepped out of his room. At this moment, Su Weiwei had already prepared a delicious meal. 5 dishes and a soup were served on the table, steaming hot. Such a feast at this time was considered very luxurious. If it were other Osmanthus village villagers, they could only eat chaff and swallow some pickles for a meal. Fortunately, Jiang Fan had purchased a large amount of grain in advance, enough to last for a year and a half. Otherwise, such a sumptuous dinner wouldn't be possible. Your cooking skills have gotten better and better, Jiang Fan praised, thinking that Su Weiwei was a very talented cook. If in a previous life, she would surely have become a famous beauty chef. Even with ordinary ingredients, she seemed to cook them deliciously. If husband likes it, I can make it every day. Su Weiwei's pretty face turned red, her eyes filled with endless charm. She felt very happy inside, brimming with warmth. But compared to the dishes, I still find you more delectable. Jiang Fan stepped forward and gently embraced her slender waist. He felt that these days, Su Weiwei seemed more enchanting and alluring, as if made of water. She exuded a fragrance that was mesmerizing. You scoundrel were still eating. Not eating anymore. Soon, it seemed that darkness fell within the room, only the sound of the bed swaying could be heard. Chapter 54, The Death of Song Fugui's Family. Another 2 days passed. Jiang Fan, now promoted to the bone-forging realm, became even more composed and confident. Even if the Red Eyebrow Army really came, he was confident that he could escape from Osmanthus village with Su Weiwei. Of course, he also hadn't forgot that he still had a ninth-grade opportunity. In the afternoon, Jiang Fan maneuvered the upturned boat to the location where the opportunity appeared and cast his net to catch fish. As expected, a black-scaled treasure fish happened to jump into his fishing net. This resulted in a great harvest for him. Not only did he catch a treasure fish, but he also caught a large quantity of normal fish. Yunmeng Lake is truly a treasure land. It not only nurtures a large number of ordinary fish, but also many treasure fish. Even though fishermen have been fishing here for thousands of years, Yunmeng Lake is still so vibrant. It seems as if the lake's fish are endless. Could there really be immortals in Yunmeng Lake? Jiang Fan's eyes flickered. To be honest, there are many legends about the 800-mile Yunmeng Lake. Once, a giant dragon was said to have fallen in this lake, seemingly having battled with an immortal, thus forming this 800-mile Yunmeng Lake. The deepest part of Yunmeng Lake is shrouded by vast white clouds. From ancient times to now, no one has ever known what lies within the depths of the clouds in the lake. It's just known that everyone who enters has never returned. It's like a hazardous place waiting to devour people. Initially, he merely regarded these legends as stories and paid them no mind. But now, having consecutively obtained 2 immortal treasures, the situation is entirely different. Undoubtedly, the legend of immortals in Yunmeng Lake might very well be true. Otherwise, how could this place have so many immortal treasures? And what of that nameless corpse? Why did it die silently in Shu Peak Mountain, and what is the origin of that token? It seems like everything is a mystery. However, he wouldn't foolishly rush into the misty area of Yunmeng Lake. After all, it's unknown how many people have died there. Even if he went, it would most likely be a dead end. So unless he has absolute confidence, he wouldn't recklessly enter. Of course, if he were to possess great strength in the future, perhaps he could venture inside. Because if immortals truly exist in this world, possessing a cultivation method, then he certainly would want to try. Who would refuse to become an immortal? Practicing martial arts can't compare to cultivation. Swoosh! Thinking of this, Jiang Fan maneuvered the upturned boat towards the direction of the fish cage. Although the Dragon King gang had been eradicated, the fish cage hadn't disappeared. After all, villagers from more than a dozen villages nearby considered this place a trading market. Moreover, without the oppression of the Dragon King gang, the fish cage became even more prosperous. Because no fishermen were forced to sell at low prices by the Dragon King gang. As a result, every fisherman's income doubled. Arriving at the fish cage's dock, many fishing boats had already gathered. The market was bustling, with street vendors putting out their goods for sale. Whether it was rice, wild vegetables, or other food items, everything was available. And the prices weren't particularly high. Even though the Red Eyebrow Army attacked Tonk County, it was only the noble families of Tonk County that suffered. The common people's losses weren't particularly significant. Even if the Red Eyebrow Army killed indiscriminately, resulting in some deaths overall, it was better than being oppressed to death by the Dragon King gang. More importantly, the Red Eyebrow Army is currently focused on attacking the prefecture city and hasn't minded small places like the fish cage. Anyone can come here to sell their goods as long as they pay a certain stall fee. And the stall fee isn't expensive. Therefore, each fisherman was beaming. They were experiencing for the first time the feeling of not being oppressed, as if a huge mountain had vanished from above them. "Oh, Xiaojiang, I didn't expect you would have such a big catch today, catching so many fish." Instantly, some fishermen noticed the baskets filled with lively, bouncing fish on Jiang Fan's upturned boat, which made them quite envious. "Not bad, not bad. Today's harvest is indeed decent. But I didn't expect the fish cage to be so lively today. It seems like many people came out to the market." Jiang Fan chuckled, for an occasional bountiful catch was quite normal for fishermen. "Haha, that's for sure. Since the Dragon King gang was exterminated by the Red Eyebrow Army, no one can control the fish cage. No one demands our monthly salary. And no one forces us to buy or sell, so our income at least doubled. Although the Red Eyebrow Army also collects money, they aren't as detestable as the Dragon King gang. The Dragon King gang deserve to die. Indeed, it's said that some people from Tonk County have fled the county and come to live in our villages. There's no other way. Tong County is still in chaos, with robbery, arson, and many hooligans causing trouble everywhere. Several fishermen exclaimed with vigor, feeling quite carefree now. Before, when coming to the dock, they always met the fierce and ruthless members of the Dragon King gang, often getting beaten and scolded. If unlucky, all their catch would be taken away, with no place to complain. But now the Red Eyebrow Army occupied the fish cage, only charging some stall fees. Besides that, there were no additional costs. Perhaps this was also because the Red Eyebrow Army focused on the prefecture city, having no time for the dozen or so fishing villages nearby. This improved the lives of villages like Osmanthus Village. Although it's uncertain what the future holds, for now, their lives are quite easy. But it's a pity that Song Fugui and his family were too unlucky. They didn't live to see the fall of the Dragon King gang. Otherwise, they wouldn't have died. Someone sighed. Uncle Song is dead. Hearing this, Jiang Fan was startled, for he had heard earlier that Song Fugui's family had fled long ago. He didn't expect to hear such news here. Yes, they died. Song Fugui's family escaped from Tong County, heading towards the prefecture city. Unexpectedly, they encountered bandits halfway, and the bandits killed Song Fugui and his family. Even their silver tails were completely robbed. Someone from the same county happened to pass by and saw the bodies of Song Fugui's family, thus learning of this incident. Alas, these times are too chaotic. Many fishermen lamented. They also initially thought that the family had fled and might have a good future. Who would have thought in the blink of an eye they died? They didn't die at the hands of the Dragon King gang, but fell to bandits instead. It could be said that this was the fate of Song Fugui's family, thinking they could defy fate but still met an unnatural death. Jiang Fan fell silent, clenching his fists. Clearly, in such a chaotic world, no amount of money mattered. Without strong power, a minor mishap could lead to an untimely death. Choosing to enhance his martial skills back then was indeed the right decision. Otherwise, no matter how much money he earned, it would merely benefit others in the end. Chapter 55, Remnants of the Dragon King Gang. By the way, you still need to be a bit careful lately. Although the Dragon King gang has indeed toppled, most of the higher-ups have fled to the prefecture city. However, a small group of the core members have already escaped to the surrounding areas, seemingly turning into bandits. Furthermore, they have become fugitives now and lost their source of income. So recently, these remnants of the Dragon King gang have been robbing us fishermen. It's said that several people have already been killed. At this time, a fisherman immediately reminded Jiang Fan. Although the Dragon King gang has indeed collapsed, even a worn-out boat still has 3 nails. The Red Eyebrow Army couldn't possibly kill every single person in the Dragon King gang. In the midst of chaos, some people managed to escape and now lie in wait around the area. This has also become a hidden threat to the fishermen. Robbers, huh? Jiang Fan raised his eyebrows. In the past, he might have been somewhat worried. But ever since advancing to the bone-forging realm, things have changed completely. Even the former strength of the Dragon King gang leader was nothing much. Even if some remnants escaped, their strength is probably mediocre and can't really touch him. If they don't come to provoke him, it's fine, but if they try, it's a dead end for them. So he didn't worry too much. Don't worry, I'll be cautious during this time, and those robbers probably won't target me. Jiang Fan chuckled. You're right, it probably won't be that unlucky. But it's still wise to be careful. The group of fishermen immediately laughed. After chatting for a while, they started selling fish in the fish cage. Jiang Fan did the same. The fish were freshly caught and very fresh, and the market was crowded. It didn't take long for the fish he caught to sell out quickly. It was quite a harvest. Meanwhile, he exchanged the money for some pork, beef, rice, vegetables, and more. Although his cellar was indeed stocked with a considerable amount of food now, his appetite increased further as he advanced to the bone-forging realm. So whenever he has the chance to purchase large quantities of food, he wouldn't miss it. Soon, the upturned boat was loaded full of food. It was a fruitful return. And what's going on? Why is there killing intent? Suddenly, Jiang Fan squinted his eyes. As a bone forger realm martial artist, his 5 senses became increasingly acute, especially in detecting malice and killing intent. In fact, while buying food at the fish cage earlier, he sensed some malicious presence among the crowd. Unquestionably, someone has set their sights on him. Could it be robbers? I only showed a little bit of money. Yet I've attracted criminals. In these tumultuous times, having no money means starving to death. Having money means being targeted by criminals. Only strength can truly ensure one's safety. Jiang Fan clenched his fists, feeling the strong flowing power within him, instantly giving him a sense of security. If those criminals don't appear, it's fine, but once they do, they will learn his power. So he remained calm, as if he hadn't noticed anything. Until he steered the upturned boat away, the criminals didn't seem to show up. Perhaps they were wary of the crowd here and didn't dare to act. At this moment in the fish cage, some people had indeed fixed their gaze on Jiang Fan, their eyes displaying a hint of ferocity. They looked like wolves starved for a long time. But they didn't make a move. Instead, they memorized Jiang Fan's appearance and left the fish cage silently. Finally, these people zigzagged their way to a nearby hidden cave. Inside, there were 5 or 6 burly men, strong-bodied with fierce expressions. They were remnants of the Dragon King gang. Among them, the leader was none other than Wei Tang, a prominent figure in the Dragon King gang and a refined flesh realm martial artist. Since the downfall of the Dragon King gang, they wandered like lost dogs, hiding everywhere, afraid of being caught by the Red Eyebrow Army, thus meeting their death. At the same time, they feared the villagers' reports. After all, they took advantage of and oppressed the virtuous when they were members of the Dragon King gang. Countless villagers hated them to the bone. Now, knowing that the Dragon King gang was in trouble, the villagers certainly wouldn't help. Instead, they'd add insult to injury. So during this time, they've been hiding, fearing discovery by nearby fishermen. How is it? Did you find out which fisherman is wealthy? Wei Tang spoke, looking at his subordinates. Earlier, he sent his men to infiltrate the fish cage and observe the surrounding fishermen, specifically searching for those affluent fishermen. Then, under the cover of night, they could go to the fishermen's homes, rob them, and make a windfall. Being members of the Dragon King gang, apart from robbing, they had no other means of survival. Continuing like this would surely lead to starvation. So sacrificing an outside wayfarer was better than starving oneself. He chose to rob the fishermen. Of course, he had to pick the fishermen carefully. If they were impoverished, naturally he wouldn't steal from them. For their homes barely had rice, even mice avoided them. Going there would serve no purpose. Naturally, they robbed those wealthy fishermen. Lord Wei, we spent a day and found quite a few people. There are plenty of wealthy fishermen. In today's market, those fishermen made a fortune. There's a young fisherman named Jiang Fan. This lad made a huge catch today, earning a lot. And he took the chance to buy a lot of food. If we rob this guy, we can surely meet our food needs for over 10 days. Subordinate revealed a greedy look in his eyes. They'd been hiding in the cave, starving for a long time. Their need for food was more pressing than for silver taels. In these chaotic times, food is more precious than gold. Besides him, we've also found over a dozen other fishermen. They all seem quite wealthy. Tonight we can raid these fishermen's homes. The group of subordinates discussed animatedly. They targeted not only Jiang Fan, but also many other fishermen. After all, they had large appetites, not easily satisfied. Good, in that case, we'll set off tonight. Visit these fishermen's homes. Those fishermen think now that the Dragon King gang is gone, they can have good days. They're dreaming. All their earnings belong to us. In this world, only fists count as logic. Wei Tang smirked grimly, his body radiating a faint killing intent. His other subordinates nodded in agreement. Soon, late at night, Wei Tang and his group quietly infiltrated Osmanthus village. They already knew where Jiang Fan's home was, so it was easy for them to reach the place. Chapter 56, Kill the Bandit. Go. At this moment, Wei Tang nodded to his subordinates, signaling them to open the house door. Although the door was tightly shut, his subordinates were adept at theft. Few doors could resist them. Bang! But before the person could act, the wooden door of the room suddenly opened, and a figure walked out. What? Wei Tang and his men were dumbfounded, as they had chosen to come in the dead of night precisely because everyone would be asleep, leaving no room for unexpected incidents. Yet they hadn't expected this person to still be awake and even opened the door. On further thought, it was also a good thing as it spared them the trouble of entering the house. Consider it opening a door of convenience for them. Each face turned ferocious, eager to rush in and stab the person inside. Boom tilde tilde. In an instant, before Wei Tang and the others could take action, a flash of sword light streaked by. It was like an aurora cutting through the night sky, beautiful and enchanting, extraordinarily eerie. What a fast sword! Wei Tang's pupils contracted as he saw the room's owner suddenly draw a sharp sword. With just a gentle swing, the speed was like lightning, swift as a thunderbolt. Then the next second, he felt a piercing pain in his throat, his hands instinctively clutching it, but copious amounts of blood continued to gush out. In a moment, it seemed to have stained his entire body red. And not just him. The 5 subordinates he brought also suffered the same fate. With just a single sword strike, amidst the flickering sword light, their throats were slashed open. He had lived a long life, yet it was the first time seeing such a top swordsman. Damn it, the person reciting here wasn't a mere fisherman, but a top expert in the sword Tao. The question was, why was such a master hiding in Osmanthus village? What was the person's true intention? With a thud, the bodies of Wei Tang and his men fell heavily to the ground, their eyes wide open, filled with endless terror and unwillingness. They never expected this to be just a routine operation. The result was, before they even began, they were instantly slain, without even a chance to resist. But no matter how unwilling, it was to no avail. Within a single breath's time, their bodies convulsed once, instantly losing all life. This afternoon I sensed malice. It must have been this group. Are they the remnants of the Dragon King gang? Originally thought they'd make a move at the market, didn't expect them to follow me home instead. It seems Osmanthus village is becoming increasingly unsafe. Jiang Fan calmly looked at the group of criminals he had slain with a sword. After advancing to the bone-forging realm, he became more sensitive to the presence of killing intent and malice. Even while in deep sleep, any approaching malice would instantly alert him. So when Wei Tang and his men neared his home, he woke up immediately. There was no need to waste words with these late-night intruders. He slew them with one sword strike. After all, his power now compared to before was many times stronger. Even though these criminals were fairly capable, they were no match and were slain with a single sword. Still, he increasingly felt that continuing to live in Osmanthus village was not a good idea. Compared to a city, the village's defenses were indeed too weak. Anyone from the outside could easily approach. During peaceful times it would be fine, but in this chaotic era, with wars and refugees rampant, bandits would certainly increase. This would inevitably affect the safety of Osmanthus village. Should I move elsewhere? Jiang Fan seriously pondered this question. Although he wished to continue staying in Osmanthus village, it seemed it might not be a good place to live after all. Moreover, he had saved up 400 to 500 taels of silver, which could sustain him for a long time elsewhere without money worries. If he quietly practiced for a while, he could become a martial artist in the refining organ realm or even a grandmaster realm. By then the world would be vast, nowhere off limits to him. Thus, he needed a safe environment to practice and get through this period of hardship. Forget it, I'll temporarily stay in Osmanthus village for now. Jiang Fan reconsidered and quickly gave up on the idea. After all, the ongoing war between the Red Eyebrow Army and the court had engulfed the land in flames. Nowhere was safe. By comparison, Osmanthus village seemed relatively peaceful. If danger emerged in Osmanthus village later, he might choose to leave. But for now, it was more secure here. Whoosh! With this thought, Jiang Fan carried Wei Tang and his men's bodies into his backyard and used corpse-dissolving water to reduce them to a pool of blood instantly. Such matters were familiar to him. Of course, Wei Tang and his men had 70 taels of silver on them, a small profit. Aside from that, no significant gains were made. Since their strongest was only in the refining flesh realm, they had no treasures. Boom tilde tilde. Just then, a message surfaced from deep within Jiang Fan's consciousness. Through vigilance and caution, you've slain a gang of nighttime bandits, surviving a crisis, earning 150 luck points and a 9th grade opportunity. Receiving this message, a look of joy appeared on his face. Compared to the loot from the criminals, the increased luck points were much more precious. His luck points grew to 160 compared to before. With 700 luck points, he could raise his cultivation to the refining organ realm. However, it seemed that becoming a refining organ realm martial artist wouldn't be easy in the short term. Yet, if he could hasten his progress to the bone tempering realm, he could save a considerable amount of luck points. Another ninth-grade opportunity. Indeed, another treasure fish. But when it comes to cultivation resources like treasure fish, the more, the better. Jiang Fan stroked his chin. He felt that the role of treasure fish was on par with treasure medicine, without any side effects. If taken long-term, it could accelerate his cultivation progress to rival those of the noble families. However, finding treasure fish on a large scale was not an easy task. If not for the opportunities revealed, he wouldn't have acquired so many treasure fish. Yet he felt something strange within, as if treasure fish had become increasingly abundant in Yunmeng Lake, differing completely from before. In the past, if fishermen came across a treasure fish once every 10 years, that would be commendable. But recently, many fishermen seem to be discovering treasure fish. Could something have happened at Yunmeng Lake? Chapter 57. Chapter 57. Red Eyebrow Army defeated. The next month in Osmanthus village was quite peaceful. After Wei Tang and others were killed, the nearby bandits seemed to disappear without a trace. The fishermen's daily outings were much safer compared to before. Meanwhile, Jiang Fan stayed at home, diligently practicing the soaring snake technique and aurora swordsmanship. Of course, he also obtained that ninth-grade opportunity, which was a green-scaled treasure fish. With the assistance of 2 tiger and leopard pills and the green-scaled treasure fish, his progress in the bone-forging realm advanced by leaps and bounds. His strength had improved significantly. Phew! At this moment, Jiang Fan was in the backyard, cultivating the soaring snake technique, practicing the soaring snake breathing technique. A mysterious substance surged between heaven and earth, seemingly forming a white mist that enveloped his entire body. Every pore in his body absorbed this white mist, which then penetrated into every bone. The white mist moved through his body like a soaring snake. Every bone was thoroughly tempered and strengthened, growing ever more formidable. The blood and energy inside his body seemed to boil, increasing in temperature. Thud! Suddenly, Jiang Fan's body shuddered, halting his cultivation. Taking a deep breath, he instantly swallowed the mist scattered in the air into his abdomen. The phenomena accompanying this cultivation came to an abrupt stop. So, my cultivation progress has reached 50%. It seems my cultivation speed is quite good. With a thought, Jiang Fan opened the virtual panel on his body. Name Jiang Fan. Life chart, great blessings equal to heaven attribute. Great calamities do not kill, great fortune follows. Lifespan 90. Luck points 160. Cultivation technique, soaring snake technique incomplete 4th layer. Skills fishing, great success. Disguise technique, mastery cow's poison scripture, mastery aurora swordsmanship, mastery. Realm bone forging realm 50%. Over this month, his cultivation had also progressed by leaps and bounds. Of course, much of it was thanks to the treasure fish and the 2 tiger and leopard pills. Otherwise, the progress wouldn't have been this fast. Meanwhile, his skill in fishing also improved to the level of great success. Although Jiang Fan hadn't deliberately honed this skill, catching one treasure fish after another as he fished caused this skill to improve significantly. There were already very few fishermen in Yunmeng Lake who could compare to him. This was only natural. After all, which bone forger realm martial artist would choose to be a fisherman? Suddenly, Jiang Fan's heart stirred when he heard a series of chaotic noises from outside, seeming quite frantic, without knowing what major event had occurred. He walked straight out of the house and saw quite a few villagers gathered in the open space outside. It's bad news. Several days ago, the Red Eyebrow Army and the court clashed, and the Red Eyebrow Army was badly defeated. The leader of the Red Eyebrow Army, Chen Yachuan, was severely injured by the court's General Mu Da, his life and death unknown, and the remaining Red Eyebrow Army fled in defeat. A fisherman immediately shared the news he had heard. For the past month, the Red Eyebrow Army had been continuously attacking Yun City. Unfortunately, Yun City was extremely stubborn and couldn't be taken down despite repeated attacks. The Red Eyebrow Army also suffered heavy casualties. Originally, it was thought that both sides would remain in a stalemate. Who could imagine that at this time, reinforcements from the court would finally arrive? The court general Mu Da was an old martial arts grandmaster with unrivaled spear technique, dominating the battlefield for decades. In his battle with Chen Yaochuan, he severely injured the commander of the Red Eyebrow Army, Chen Yaochuan, forcing him to flee in disgrace. The other members of the Red Eyebrow Army collapsed like monkeys scattering when a tree falls. After all, without Chen Yaochuan as their backbone, the 36 bandit groups were nothing but a rabble. They were easily defeated by the court's main forces. So they lost. Upon hearing the news, Jiang Fan was somewhat bewildered. Although he didn't think the Red Eyebrow Army could ultimately seize control of this land, he hadn't expected them to lose so quickly. In just 1 month's time, they were defeated and on the run. Undoubtedly, with the defeat of the Red Eyebrow Army, the situation would inevitably change once again. If the Red Eyebrow Army was defeated, wouldn't the Dragon King gang make a comeback? A fisherman's face changed drastically, immediately considering this possibility. After all, many elders of the Dragon King gang had already fled to Yun City, escaping the pursuit of the Red Eyebrow Army and preserving most of their elite forces. Aside from the death of some lower and middle-ranking members, the overall strength of the Dragon King gang hadn't suffered much. If the Red Eyebrow Army was utterly defeated, then the people of the Dragon King gang might make a regal return. However, for the fishermen, this would be tantamount to devastating news. Initially, they had enjoyed a month of freedom without the extortion of the Dragon King gang. But who could have foreseen the blink of an eye, and the Dragon King gang would be back again? This was not good news for any fisherman. The Red Eyebrow Army was useless. Couldn't they even defeat the court's main forces? They talked big about overthrowing the court, yet they couldn't even capture Yun City. They lost way too quickly. It's said that the scattered Red Eyebrow Army is fleeing everywhere, hiding and being hunted by the court's main forces. Worthless beings, I knew from the start that the Red Eyebrow Army couldn't accomplish anything. Everyone should be more cautious lately. These remnants of the Red Eyebrow Army fleeing around might just show up in Osmanthus village. Yes, they're bandits to begin with. If they come to our village, they might plunder, so be prepared. Many villagers cursed while worrying. They didn't expect the Red Eyebrow Army to be so inept. If they couldn't defeat the court's main army, at least they should have wiped out the Dragon King gang. But they achieved nothing, merely looted like bandits and then fled in defeat. However, they had no other recourse. As ordinary people with no power, they could only go with the flow. It seems the world is becoming more chaotic. Jiang Fan clenched his fist. Honestly, he didn't think the chaos would end, even after the court's main forces defeated the Red Eyebrow Army. Fundamentally, it was the court's tyranny that left the common people without a way to live, pushing them to rebel. They might defeat the Red Eyebrow Army this time. But what about next time? As long as the anger of the common people isn't quelled, the Blue Eyebrow Army and the White Eyebrow Army will keep emerging. This is merely the beginning. If he's pushed to the limit, he too might rebel. No matter what the future holds, Osmanthus village is still too dangerous. Relocating to the county seat is necessary. Jiang Fan took a deep breath. Initially, he wanted to continue living in Osmanthus village, but now it seems impossible. Because Osmanthus village is like a public place, everyone can come and go. With continuous oppression, who could endure it? And with the increasing number of refugees and bandits, Osmanthus village won't remain a secluded place for long. It's better to head to the county seat. At least there are city walls for protection, which can block bandits and refugees. And he had 500 to 600 pieces of silver, enough for him to live in comfort for a long time. There's no reason to stay in Osmanthus village any longer. Chapter 58, Trouble has arrived. Whoosh! After listening to the villagers, Jiang Fan returned to his home and started discussing the relocation with his wife, Su Weiwei. What, you plan to go to the county town? Su Weiwei was surprised that her husband suddenly made such a decision. For a fisherman, this wasn't an easy decision. After all, staying in Osmanthus village allowed them to rely on fishing for their livelihood. But entering the county town, what could they rely on for survival? It's the biggest obstacle, blocking numerous farmers from moving to the city. Without a means of making a living, they would eventually starve in the county town. I'm not planning to go to the county town, but to the prefecture city, to Yun City. Jiang Fan had considered it thoroughly. Compared to the county town, the prefecture city is safer. As the saying goes, small temple many demon winds, shallow water many turtles. If they went to the county town, they might encounter trivial troubles. But the prefecture city is different. Most people living in the prefecture city are high-ranking officials or wealthy merchants. So the troubles encountered would be relatively fewer. At least they wouldn't face extortion like from the Dragon King gang. Going to the prefecture city to live, if one has money, is certainly more comfortable than living in Osmanthus village. Of course, living won't be a problem either. I currently have over 600 taels of silver. Even if we do nothing, we can live for 10-odd years. The reason for going to the prefecture city is simply to avoid the chaos. If the chaos ends and we can't find work in the prefecture city, we can return to Osmanthus village. Jiang Fan had planned various retreat paths. Going to Yun City was just for refuge. Moreover, he believed that with his martial prowess, he'd be welcomed anywhere as a guest. Once his bone-forging realm strength was revealed, making money would be exceedingly simple. Whether it be gangs or noble families, they would all welcome such experts into their fold. But he didn't want to rely on others. So unless absolutely necessary, he wouldn't do so. "All right, husband, I will follow your lead." Su Weiwei took a deep breath and nodded in agreement. After all, marry a chicken, follow the chicken, marry a dog, follow the dog. Though she knew moving elsewhere was risky, it was indeed becoming more chaotic outside, as her husband said, making Osmanthus village unsafe. At any moment, they could encounter refugees or bandits. If they continued to stay, they might face numerous disasters. For safety's sake, going to the prefecture city was better. More importantly, since the Red Eyebrow army has been defeated and the court's army has won, the prefecture city should be the safest place for now. But what about all the food stored at home? Are we to leave it to waste here? Su Weiwei felt regretful about the stored food at home. However, taking so much with them to Yun City wasn't easy. Especially during such chaotic times, it wasn't realistic. "You don't need to worry about this. All the food at home can be stored in my space ring." Jiang Fan smiled slightly and began to show Su Weiwei the ability of the space ring. Previously, he didn't tell Su Weiwei about the space ring, worrying she might inadvertently mention it to others or to people in the village. Additionally, given his weak strength before, it was better to avoid unnecessary trouble. Things were different now. Having decided to leave Osmanthus village and being a bone-forging realm martial artist, he'd soon become a refining organ realm martial artist. Telling Su Weiwei about these things was completely fine. "Space ring, is this an immortal treasure? Did you, husband, receive an immortal's inheritance?" Su Weiwei's eyes widened with surprise and joy. She previously had many questions, wondering where her husband's strength came from. After all, ordinary people who want to practice martial arts need to find a master and consume various treasure medicines. That's the only chance for success. Yet her husband seemed to have never had a master but learned by himself, possessing strong prowess. It was astonishing, but as it was her husband, she never questioned it. After all, it wasn't a bad thing. Now seeing this, knowing he received an immortal's inheritance made everything possible. "That's right. But this is our secret, don't tell anyone else. In the future, we could become an immortal couple." Jiang Fan smiled slightly and wrapped his arm around Su Weiwei's slim waist. He directly admitted to receiving an immortal's inheritance, knowing this world has many legends about immortals. Even common people have heard many such legends and can easily accept them. "I too could become an immortal?" Su Weiwei asked expectantly. "Of course you can." Jiang Fan nodded. He believed that as his cultivation continued to improve, he would definitely find a true immortal's inheritance and obtain their cultivation method, at which point Su Weiwei could practice with him. "You're lying. Becoming an immortal is that simple. Once you become an immortal, you'll surely abandon me." Su Weiwei's eyes dimmed. She wasn't foolish. Becoming an immortal isn't easy. If immortals could be achieved so readily, they wouldn't have nearly disappeared from the world. And as a mere mortal woman, how could she be worthy of an immortal? In the future, if Jiang Fan pursued immortality and abandoned her, it would be understandable. "You're overthinking things. If you don't believe me, then give me 7 or 8 children. That way, I won't be able to run away." Jiang Fan lifted Su Weiwei in his arms and headed to the bedroom. With a swish, Su Weiwei's pretty face turned red. Soon the sound of the bed swaying echoed from the bedroom, and it went on and on. After another day, the situation near Tong County became increasingly chaotic. Due to the Red Eyebrow Army's defeat, 36 groups of bandits fled everywhere, causing arson, murder, and loot. Even near Osmanthus village, Red Eyebrow soldiers' shadows occasionally appeared. The villagers were on high alert to prevent these Red Eyebrow soldiers from breaching the village. Bang tilde tilde. At this moment, a team of fully armed cavalry suddenly appeared at the entrance of Osmanthus village. They rode tall horses, wore armor, and their bodies emitted blood-evil chi. Clearly, they were ruthless killers. Leading the group was a proud, arrogant, cruel, and cold-eyed man from Yun City's Lu family, Lu Yan, a bone-forging realm martial artist with powerful strength. Oh no, trouble is here. Seeing the scene, villagers were terrified. Truth be told, compared to encountering Red Eyebrow Army, they were more afraid of the government troops. Because the government troops have a notorious reputation, meeting them has never been good. Chapter 59. Chapter 59. Officials and bandits as one, killing innocents to falsify merits. I am Lu Yan of the Lu family army from Yun City. I now suspect your village of harboring remnants of the Red Eyebrow Army. Immediately hand over the remnants of the Red Eyebrow Army. Otherwise, you are committing a crime of treason and will be executed along with your entire clan. Lu Yan rode a white horse, looking down condescendingly at the villagers of Osmanthus village, a terrifying killing intent emanating from him. We are innocent, Lord Lu. Osmanthus village has been loyal for generations. It's impossible for us to have any ties with the Red Eyebrow Army. Please, my lord, see clearly. The village chief of Osmanthus village, Jiang Fan, felt a chill in his heart, realizing the other party had come with ill intentions. Completely different from those before. The Dragon King gang and the Red Eyebrow Army were only after money. As long as the monthly salary was paid, there was no trouble. But Lu Yan was not after money at all. He intended to take lives. Shut up, whether there's a connection is not for you to decide. Start searching house to house immediately. If anyone dares to obstruct, kill without mercy. Lu Yan snorted coldly. Yes, my lord. 100 cavalry advanced, each an elite. In an instant, the villagers of Osmanthus village had their hackles raised, trembling in fear, not daring to move. At this moment, Jiang Fan and Su Weiwei also hid among the crowd, calmly observing the situation. They saw soldiers searching house to house, rifling through boxes and cabinets. Originally, the villagers thought nothing major would happen. After all, they truly had no collusion with the Red Eyebrow Army. But as soon as they reached one house, they immediately heard a loud shout from inside. Indeed, remnants of the Red Eyebrow Army are hiding here. Kill them immediately. With a bang, a fierce fight sound came from inside, and then several soldiers dragged out a corpse. It was a middle-aged man with a dozen stab wounds, bloodied, devoid of any breath. An important figure of the Red Eyebrow Army, Ren Hui, a strong sinews realm martial artist, a pretty good big fish. Who on earth harbored Ren Hui, the chief of the Red Eyebrow Army? Don't you know he is a major criminal of the court? You actually dared to harbor a criminal, that's a capital offense. Lu Yan's eyes showed a cold light, staring at everyone. The murderous aura around him grew even more terrifying. The villagers were all shivering, completely not expecting such a thing to happen. Who could have imagined that remnants of the Red Eyebrow Army were truly hiding in Osmanthus village? With a thud, one person was so frightened he knelt on the ground, his face pale, revealed as Mengtai. He trembled and said, I'm sorry, my lord, I was forced. This Red Eyebrow Chief, Ren Hui, came to my house a few days ago, forcing me to find him a hiding place or he would kill me and my mother. I had no choice but to agree to his demands. Please, my lord, spare us. He had no choice, being just a regular fisherman. Faced with the coercion of a strong sinews realm martial artist, he had no room for resistance and could only comply. This is the helplessness of this world. The requests of the strong must be obeyed by the weak, or it means disaster. Coercion. Do you know how many of my Lu family army he has killed? He has a blood feud with my Lu family army. You dare hide him and help him escape. Your crime is unforgivable. Lu Yan sneered, signaling to one of his men. Swoosh. In an instant, a soldier bent his bow and released an arrow that instantly shot through. Before Mengtai could react, the arrow accurately pierced his heart. Blood splattered from his body. You. Meng Tai clutched the arrow in his heart, feeling intense pain. His eyes showed anger and unwillingness. His family was just ordinary fishermen, merely trying to make ends meet, 3 meals a day. First, the oppression of the Dragon King gang, then the Red Eyebrow Army, and now the government army. It's endless. Why doesn't the world give them a way to live? What is the reason for this? They just want to survive. Why is it so hard? Why won't they allow it? Tear, I will fight you beast to the death. Sister-in-law Meng saw this scene, her despair turning into overwhelming grief. Her husband was beaten to death by the Dragon King gang, losing their family's pillar. Now, even her son had died at the hands of the government. She had completely lost the will to live. Taking out a kitchen knife, she rushed towards the soldiers, intending to die with them. Swoosh! Unfortunately, she hadn't taken a step before another arrow was shot, easily piercing her heart, and her body collapsed to the ground, raising a cloud of dust, eyes wide open, dead but not at peace. Yet there seemed to be a trace of relief in her pupils. Perhaps she had long stopped wanting to live in this cruel world. You lowly things dare wave a knife at me. Seeing this, Lu Yan sneered, having witnessed villagers' reactions countless times. Sadly, under absolute strength, everything was futile. Before they got near, they were killed by the guards around him. The villagers seeing this scene were filled with grief and anger. Even in this age, people's feelings among villagers were indifferent. But seeing the Meng family, whom they had known for years, annihilated and beaten to death in public, they couldn't suppress a surge of anger within. This government army, bullying too much. Too excessive. Jiang Fan clenched his fist, feeling as if something blocked his chest, a rising unease. Fishermen indeed were lowly people. But they hadn't done anything wrong. They shouldn't die like this. What, judging by your looks, you want to avenge their mother and son? Do you dare to touch me, Lu Yan? Lu Yan sneered, looking down at the Osmanthus villagers, completely scornful. Not to mention the hundreds of elite cavalry by his side. His bone-forging realm's strength alone was unbeatable by these fishermen. If he wished, he could kill these fishermen with a single breath. Lord Lu, I think these people aren't villagers. They're remnants of the Red Eyebrow Army. Killing all of them and bringing back the heads would be a great accomplishment. It might even earn the general's praise. At this moment, a lieutenant recalled something and spoke. He appeared gentle, seemingly a civil official. Yet his words were a malicious plot. What? Upon hearing this, Jiang Fan's face changed drastically, realizing these government soldiers intended to kill innocents for credit. He had only read similar descriptions in history books of his previous life. But experiencing it firsthand let him feel the despair of ordinary people. Killing defenseless ordinary people, cutting off heads, exchanging for military merit. What despicable behavior! The anger and killing intent in his heart were utterly uncontrollable. These people had gone too far, giving them no way out. Chapter 60, No Way Out, Kill All the Soldiers. Upon hearing this, Lu Yan's eyes immediately brightened. To be honest, the deputy's words were indeed highly aligned with his own desires. In the previous battle against the Red Eyebrow Army, he had no chance to stand out. As the war neared its conclusion, the Red Eyebrow Army was thoroughly crushed by the court. Yet he had no achievements at all, making it impossible for him to be promoted. But now, if he were to kill a group of Red Eyebrow Army remnants, along with Ren Hui's head, it would definitely be a great achievement. Because if it were just Ren Hui's head, it would be merely completing an ordinary task. But if he were to annihilate a group, it would mean destroying a Red Eyebrow Army force. That would definitely be a huge achievement. If aided by the Lu family's influence, he might even be promoted 3 levels. This is simply like a pie falling from the sky. He had no reason not to seize it. Correct, you're absolutely right. These lowly people are remnants of the Red Eyebrow Army. Kill them all and cut off their heads. Lu Yan immediately issued the order. What? Upon hearing this, all the villagers of Osmanthus village turned pale with utter despair. They had already compromised to such an extent, yet the other side had no intention of sparing them. It was utterly malicious to the extreme. In an instant before the soldiers could act, a sword light suddenly appeared. It was like a streak of light cutting through the night sky, incredibly beautiful but containing an endless killing intent. Damn it, someone wants to kill me. Lu Yan's face changed dramatically. As a bone forger realm martial artist, his reaction speed was specially fast, and he instantly sensed the killing intent. But the enemy's sword speed was incredibly fast, instantly blocking all his escape angles. It seemed that no matter where he dodged, he would be struck by a single sword. Bang! The sword light flashed, and before Lu Yan could react, he only felt a sharp pain in his neck, and his eyes showed an astonished expression. I'm dead just like this. I am a Lu family disciple from Yun City, and I died in an ordinary village. When did such a powerful swordsman hide here? Lu Yan's eyes widened, showing an incredulous expression. As a bone forger realm martial artist, he had no strength to fight back at all. It was simply absurd. He regretted it to the extreme now. If he had known that Osmanthus village hid such a terrifying swordsman, he would never have come here even if beaten to death. Unfortunately, now it was too late to say anything. With a rumbling sound, as the sword light flashed, Lu Yan's head was immediately thrown away, cut off with a single sword. The body that was initially on the horse also fell, crashing heavily onto the ground. The head also landed on the muddy ground, covered in yellow earth, with eyes showing shock, fear, and disbelief, seemingly unaware of who killed him. Lord Lu. Witnessing this scene, the deputy beside him was both shocked and angry. He could not believe that Lu Yan was beheaded with a single sword, dying so miserably. To be honest, he had no idea how furious the Lu family would be upon discovering this matter. After all, Lu Yan was one of the key nurtured individuals of the Lu family, a future pillar of the Lu family. Yet now he had died in an ordinary village. If he returned alive, he would certainly suffer heavy punishment from the Lu family, possibly implicating his own family as well. But without a doubt, he was overthinking because he had no chance of returning alive. Bang! Another sword light swept over as if tearing the sky apart, radiating cold brilliance. Damn it! The deputy immediately raised the lance in his hand, trying to block. But it was useless. This was a divine blade cutting through iron like mud, incomparable to ordinary iron. With just one sword, not only was the lance cut off, it also sliced the deputy's armor and body in half, with a large amount of blood spurting out like a fountain, quickly dyeing the land red. The one who struck was Jiang Fan. With only 2 swords, he slain Lu Yan and his deputy. In an instant, he had eliminated the 2 largest threats. The remaining elite cavalry, at best, were only in the strong sinew realm, completely incapable of being his opponents. Without a doubt, Jiang Fan, having advanced to the bone forger realm, was many times stronger than before. Plus, with his mastery-level Aurora swordsmanship, slaughtering martial artists of the same rank was as simple as eating and drinking. Especially with a calculated, unexpected assassination. Lu Yan had no chance to react, and was slain by Jiang Fan with a single sword. Bear in mind this was a life-or-death battle, not a sparring match on stage with hundreds of rounds. Any flaw exposed would lead to instant death, with no chance to fight back. Jiang Fan. The one who struck was Jiang Fan. No way, Jiang Fan is a martial artist, but when did he learn martial arts? He hit it too deeply. At this moment, the villagers finally saw the true face of the one who struck. They never imagined it was Jiang Fan, the young fellow. To be honest, their impression of Jiang Fan was merely that of a silent and withdrawn young fisherman. He was barely noticeable in the entire Osmanthus village. Moreover, since Father Jiang and Jiang's mother died, Jiang Fan had reduced contact with the villagers. Coupled with the previous incident regarding the borrowed grain, his relationship with the villagers grew even more distant. Thus, seeing Jiang Fan suddenly erupt with such terrifying strength, each of them was utterly shocked. Damn it, killed Lord Lu and Lord Zhang. Everyone take action, kill this guy, avenge Lord Lu. The remaining hundreds of elite cavalry were inconsolably furious. They charged towards Jiang Fan. Some even tried shooting arrows from afar to kill Jiang Fan. Slow, too slow. Your movements are like snails. It was at this moment that Jiang Fan realized the terrifying nature of the soaring snake technique, as his 5 senses were enhanced to non-human levels. The movements of these soldiers were like snails. Even the arrows shot from afar posed no threat to him. Simply by a slight dodge, he easily evaded all attacks. After all, the soaring snake technique endowed him with superhuman 5 senses, explosive power, and agility. This made his movements resemble a spirit snake, weaving through the blind spots of these soldiers. Bang! In a split second, Jiang Fan thrusted his sword, instantaneously unleashing 9 bursts of sword light. With the augmentation of the Chengying sword, each of these swords had terrifying power, effortlessly piercing through the armor of these soldiers, shattering them like tofu. Immediately, one by one, the soldiers were clueless about what happened. They merely felt a sharp pain in their chests, followed by a torrent of blood. Looking down, they discovered a bloody hole had appeared in their chests. Then their bodies fell lifeless. Chapter 61, Exterminate completely. A few minutes later, over 100 elite cavalry corpses were already lying on the ground. In the end, these elite cavalry tried to escape, tried to beg for mercy, their hearts shattered in fear. But it was still useless. They were still slain by Jiang Fan in a single strike. These people were simply accomplices, none of them innocent. So Jiang Fan couldn't show any mercy. This is about eradicating evil thoroughly. At this moment, a huge amount of blood was flowing on the ground, practically painting this land red. The air was filled with the scent of blood. Yet Jiang Fan's Chengying sword didn't have a drop of blood on it. Under the sunlight, it shone with a cold gleam, sending a chill down the spine. The villagers seeing this scene were all trembling in fear. In such a large village, there was now a dead silence. No one dared to utter a single word. It seemed you could hear a pin drop. They were afraid that if Jiang Fan got into a killing spree, he might kill them too. After all, it only took a few minutes to kill all the elite cavalry. Then getting rid of them would be even easier. Each of them looked at Jiang Fan with great awe. The current Jiang Fan was no longer just a fisherman, but a powerful martial artist who could decide their life and death. These guys actually had so much money on them. Jiang Fan ignored the villagers, immediately stepping forward to search the bodies. He found a total of 1,500 taels of silver on them, which was an astounding fortune. For ordinary fishermen, this money could easily sustain a lifetime. With a bit of thrift, one could live without worry for a lifetime. Of course, if one were to practice martial arts and buy treasure medicine, this amount of money would be far from enough. So the gap between noble families and ordinary people is really too great. A small amount of money from them would be enough for an ordinary person to live a lifetime. Without a doubt, with this money, his life in Yun City would be very comfortable in the future. Village Chief, I'm really sorry for bringing trouble to Osmanthus village. After finishing all this, Jiang Fan came to village chief Zhang Quan. He held great respect for Zhang Quan of Osmanthus village. The other had saved Osmanthus village from difficulties countless times, truly a respected elder. He knew that after killing these soldiers, it would be impossible for him not to leave. No problem. If it weren't for you, we would have been killed by those government soldiers long ago. You are the savior of our entire Osmanthus village. Village Chief Zhang Quan said gratefully. He knew this matter couldn't be blamed on Jiang Fan. Without Jiang Fan, their heads would have been presented by Lu Yan and others as achievements. Other villagers nodded too. Jiang Fan indeed did them a favor. And it was a life-saving favor. Can't say a life-saving favor, because it's still very uncertain if you can survive the next moment. I believe you heard just now, the leader was called Lu Yan, possibly a direct descendant of the Lu family from Yun City. If the Lu family learns of his death, Osmanthus village could face disaster. Although he was killed by me, you will inevitably suffer the consequences too. Jiang Fan said solemnly, looking at everyone. Hearing this, everyone fell silent, knowing Jiang Fan's words were true. The world is like this. Having eliminated Cao Yan and others, Jiang Fan could naturally escape with ease. But the villagers of Osmanthus village, staying here, would surely suffer the wrath of the Lu family. Even if they weren't the murderers, they would certainly bear the brunt of the anger. Though this kind of thing is unfair, this is reality. The armor and horses of these soldiers, consider them my gifts to you. Whether you choose to stay in Osmanthus village or flee far away, it's entirely up to you. And Su Weiwei and I will leave Osmanthus village and part ways with you. Jiang Fan said. After all, these horses and armor, as well as weapons, he couldn't take away. Even if he could, they couldn't be sold or turned into money. In that case, why not do a favor, give them to the villagers? It's also a repayment of past village kinship. From now on, everyone will go their separate ways, never to meet again. Take care. Village Chief Jiang took a deep breath, looking at Jiang Fan. He knew it was the best choice. A hidden dragon like Jiang Fan could not stay with them. This place was too small to contain such a hidden dragon. Jiang Fan nodded, took Su Weiwei, mounted one of the horses and galloped away. Although he had never ridden a horse before, as a bone-forging realm martial artist, maneuvering his muscles and bones to learn riding was child's play. In the blink of an eye, the two had completely vanished from Osmanthus village, leaving behind a group of villagers staring at each other. They were still utterly shocked by what had happened moments ago, as if in a dream. My goodness, was that little Fan just now? He was like a god of killing, wiped out those government elite cavalry in no time, simply terrifying. Wasn't he? Killing those soldiers was like slaughtering chickens. It was impossible to tell before. When did he start practicing martial arts? Everyone was discussing animatedly. They still couldn't believe it, that the once ordinary Jiang Fan suddenly became such a powerful martial artist. But the facts were in front of them. Even if they didn't believe it, there was no way around it. Shut up, stop discussing these things. We still have more important things to do. That is, whether to stay in Osmanthus village or leave, needs to be decided now. We don't have time to delay. If the Lu family learns Lu Yan died here, an army could arrive the next day. Village Chief Jiang looked at everyone. Village Chief, Lu Yan and the others weren't killed by us. If we explain to the Lu family, will they spare us? Someone asked. Spare us? When have those bigwigs ever cared about our lives? Even if we didn't kill them, the fact they died in Osmanthus village is our fault. Maybe you can pray the Lu family bigwigs are kind-hearted. But can we take that gamble? Village Chief Jiang sneered. Dare to gamble? Gamble with what? If we lose, it'll be at the cost of our lives. Who dares to gamble? The faces of many villagers became very serious. They knew they really only had one path, which was to leave Osmanthus village, dodge the wrath of the Lu family, and thus survive. Don't even think about tattling. Even if you did, would those bigwigs really pay attention to us? Instead, it might bring more ire. So if you don't want to die, don't do these foolish things. Village Chief Jiang reminded. From the beginning, Jiang Fan and they were in the same boat. If they ratted out, they too would face death and couldn't wash their hands of it. They were already accomplices. Chapter 62, Obtaining a 7th grade opportunity. Don't worry, Village Chief, we're not fools. We won't betray you. Heh, those bigwigs don't care about our lives. Snitching would be playing with our own lives. Exactly, Jiang Fan is our savior. How could we repay kindness with betrayal? Indeed, if it weren't for him, we might all be dead. Those soldiers wanted to kill the innocent and take credit, trading our heads for fame. It's utterly despicable. The villagers sneered continuously. They knew well the nature of those in power. If they betrayed and revealed Jiang Fan's information, they wouldn't gain anything. Instead, they might invite disaster upon themselves. It seems we all agree. Let's dig a pit later and burn these corpses to destroy the evidence. Anyway, no one saw how Lu Yan and the others died. Even if the Lu family discovers Lu Yan and the others are missing, it will take them a long time to trace it back to Osmanthus village. We can delay them for at least half a month, even a month. With that much time, we can disappear long ago. Village Chief Jiang was very calm, having already planned how to destroy the evidence. If they did everything cleanly, they could buy a lot of time. After all, in those times, communication was extremely slow. First, it might take the Lu family 10 days to half a month to notice Lu Yan and the others missing. And tracing their movements would take at least another half-month. With that, they had plenty of time to escape Osmanthus village completely. But Village Chief, the world is vast. Where can we possibly escape to? Yeah, with chaos everywhere besides Osmanthus village, we have nowhere to go. The villagers said helplessly. They wanted to escape, but had nowhere to go. Relocating wasn't easy. If they went to a foreign land without any other skills, wouldn't they starve to death? In an instant, they would become refugees. Don't worry, I've already found a place. In the past, I discovered a secluded island deep in Yunmeng Lake. The island has mountains, water, and fields, enough to accommodate our village people. If we all move there, we can live self-sufficiently. Village Chief Jiang smiled slightly, having long considered this retreat. After all, Yunmeng Lake sprawling over 800 miles is enormous. The lake is shrouded in clouds and fog, with complex terrain. Even now, the full view of Yunmeng Lake is unknown. This secluded island was discovered by accident when he was young, venturing deep into Yunmeng Lake. And he hid this place as a secret base. Village chief, you found such a place, why didn't you say sooner? Everyone was pleasantly surprised, not expecting the village chief to find such an idyllic place. If they could live on such a secluded island, maybe they could avoid the chaos of war. Heavy. Village chief Jiang Fan smiled without speaking. After all, this place was his backup plan. He wouldn't reveal it unless facing a village-ending disaster. But everyone understood his little hidden thought. It's a pity, though, if only Jiang Fan could stay with us, maybe he could help. Someone lamented. After all, Jiang Fan's strength was terrifying. If he could protect them, they'd be safer. But they had no way to change Jiang Fan's decision. Shut up, he's a hidden dragon. This small place could never confine him. Besides, he's done more than enough for us. Just leaving behind over 100 warhorses and armor is a huge wealth. Selling those would ensure our village's prosperity for a lifetime. Village chief Jiang Fan said lightly. That's true. The villagers suddenly brightened up. They knew the chief spoke truthfully. Warhorses' prices were incredibly high, equivalent to luxury cars in past times. Even selling one, they couldn't imagine its worth. But selling them wasn't that simple. They'd need connections. Nevertheless, it's undoubtedly a huge fortune, like a windfall from heaven. They couldn't catch enough fish to earn such money. Enough, stop talking, let's act now. Village chief Jiang Fan commanded immediately. No one hesitated. Since their lives depended on it, they couldn't be careless. They quickly dug a pit, piled the corpses, and set them ablaze. Soon the corpses turned to ashes. Meanwhile, Jiang Fan and Su Weiwei had already left Osmanthus village. Beforehand, he packed everything and put it in the space ring. So there wasn't much preparation needed, allowing a light departure. Boom tilde tilde. At this moment, from the depths of his consciousness, a message came. Narrowly escaping death, you fought back fiercely against the vicious Liu family army soldiers, battling to the end and killing Liu Yan and other government soldiers, successfully avoiding a disaster, earning 400 luck points and a 7th grade opportunity. What? Receiving the message, Jiang Fan was overjoyed. He knew the reward was substantial but didn't expect to gain 400 luck points at once. It was a huge harvest. Combined with the previous luck points, his advancement to the refining organ realm wasn't far. It was close at hand. More importantly, he gained a 7th grade opportunity. No amount of luck points could compare to that. Thinking of this, Jiang Fan didn't hesitate, immediately opening the opportunity light point deep in his consciousness. Instantly, another message flowed quickly. Go to a courtyard in the eastern district outside Yun City, dig 50 centimeters under a banyan tree, and you'll find a 7th grade opportunity. Yun City. Jiang Fan's eyes gleamed. It was clear, even as the opportunity guided him, that he needed to head to Yun City. This city might be where his fortune lay. Staying in Osmanthus village would only bring endless calamities. Leaving Osmanthus village was his best choice. Husband, how long will it take us to reach Yun City? Su Weiwei asked eagerly yet worriedly. After all, Yun City was the prefecture city, gathering countless people. Surviving in such a city wasn't easy. Don't worry, by horse, we can arrive in a day. Jiang Fan reassured. Yun City, after all, was also within Yunmeng Lake's range, located upstream, while Osmanthus village was downstream, separated by over 100 kilometers. Traveling to Yun City was relatively straightforward, without a rough journey. Chapter 63. Chapter 63, Settling in Yun City. 2 days later, Jiang Fan first rested for a night in Tong County, and then took Su Weiwei to Yun City. Of course, before they arrived in Yun City, he had set the horse free. After all, such warhorses are too conspicuous. It's easy to be discovered by the government. So when they were about to reach Yun City, they dismounted early and headed there on foot. At the same time, he and Su Weiwei disguised themselves as ordinary people to prevent encountering anyone from Osmanthus village. Husband, is this Yun City? It's truly magnificent. Su Weiwei looked up at the distant city with a face full of shock. In front of her was a city dozens of meters high, spanning east to west, like a mountain rising from the flat ground, blocking everyone's path, majestic and grand. This is Yun City, one of the Great Wei 13 prefectures. In terms of wealth, aside from the capital city, it's Yun City. After all, Yun City sits by the 800-mile Yumeng Lake. This place is one of Great Wei's transport waterways. Countless ships must pass through here. Simply collecting fees for ship docking is enough to make Yun City wealthy. So naturally, Yun City is extremely prosperous, with reportedly over 2 million residents. It's certainly a giant city. No wonder the Red Eyebrow Army couldn't capture this city, retreating in defeat. Undoubtedly, such a city for a girl from a fishing village is akin to Granny Liu entering the Grand View Garden. Magnificent, isn't it? Unfortunately, such a city belongs to dignitaries and noble families. For the poor to live in such a city is not easy. Jiang Fan squinted his eyes. In his previous life, he had seen many large cities, even ones with populations exceeding 30 million. So Yun City couldn't shock him. Moreover, a bustling city like this comes with high rent and high prices. Surviving here is not easy. According to the information he gathered, Yun City allows anyone to live here without any restrictions. But one must have a fixed residence. Street sleeping is not permitted. Otherwise, it would be illegal, leading to jail or even becoming a slave in military camps. What do we do next? Su Weiwei had completely relied on Jiang Fan as their backbone. Coming to such a foreign place is truly terrifying for a woman who has never left home. First, enter Yun City, find a broker. Then rent a house. Jiang Fan said solemnly. Undoubtedly, in a new place, the most important thing is to rent a house. Having a place to stay allows you to survive here. Once you have a house, you can gradually familiarize yourself with the city. Su Weiwei nodded. Soon, Jiang Fan and Su Weiwei entered Yun City, also paying the entrance fee. Due to the recent defeat of the Red Eyebrow Army, most troops had been sent out to pursue them, leaving only a few soldiers in Yun City, making inspections not stringent. Thus, the two easily entered the city. Next, Jiang Fan arrived at an inn and found a broker. The broker was Liu Jiang, a bald and small middle-aged man dressed in black linen, with small eyes revealing the shrewdness unique to a small-town resident, sharp in observation. Brother, I can't believe you chose this time to enter Yun City. Generally, many people are fleeing, leaving Yun City. Aren't you afraid the Red Eyebrow Army might return? If Yun City falls, they might massacre the city. Liu Jiang looked at Jiang Fan with a smile, seemingly trying to discern his identity. Of course I'm afraid. But now the world is at war everywhere, there's no safe place. Fleeing elsewhere, you'd still face war. After thinking it over, I felt Yun City was a bit safer. There's supposed to be General Mu Da guarding Yun City. I believe Yun City will be steady as a mountain. It won't be breached by any chaotic rebels. Jiang Fan smiled slightly, explaining his reasons for relocating to Yun City. Haha, yes, you're correct. Where else in this world is safe? Compared to others, Yun City is indeed safer. Your luck is actually not bad. Previously, due to the Red Eyebrow Army attacking Yun City, many left, leaving behind many vacant houses. Now if you rent, the price is favorable. Liu Jiang was very enthusiastic, immediately taking Jiang Fan to find a house. After all, for him, completing a deal means earning a commission. Previously, due to the war, he hadn't had any business for a long time. Soon, Jiang Fan looked at a dozen houses. At the last one, Jiang Fan's pupils contracted, as he discovered this courtyard seemed to be the place of his 7th grade opportunity, as if destiny guided him here. This might be the suitable place for him to live. This one looks good, how much is it? Jiang Fan asked directly. Brother Jiang, you indeed have a discerning eye. You can tell the feng shui of this house is good at a glance. 5 rooms, over 300 square meters, plus a garden. The price isn't high, just 10 taels of silver a year. But this house requires a minimum of a 3-year lease, just 1 year won't do. Liu Jiang's eyes lit up, repeatedly praising the advantages of this house. What? Upon hearing this, Su Weiwei's beautiful eyes widened. She secretly clicked her tongue. The price was truly exorbitant. A year's rent requires 10 taels of silver. Such prices which fishermen can afford. It's no wonder no one dared to move to Yun City. Just the annual rent can cut into fishermen's bones and sinews. If Jiang Fan hadn't obtained over 1,000 taels of silver, He probably couldn't afford a house in Yun City either. Good, I'll take this house. Jiang Fan didn't bother to argue, since it was nearly dark. If he couldn't find a suitable house, he'd probably have to stay at an inn. Great, I'll arrange it for you. Liu Jiang said excitedly. His gaze at Jiang Fan changed. This young man seemed ordinary, but his wealth was unexpected, renting a 10-tael house without hesitation. This isn't something an ordinary person can do. But he didn't overthink it, and immediately processed the leasing paperwork for Jiang Fan. He thoughtfully prepared various furniture, bedding, etc., making it convenient for Jiang Fan and Su Weiwei to move in. In no time, Jiang Fan and Su Weiwei settled completely in Yun City. At least they had a temporary place to stay. Chapter 64, Great Harvest Cultivation Technique, Cyan Wood Formula. Liu Jiang, having received this commission, was quite pleased. As he was preparing to head home, he was suddenly intercepted by someone. It was a member of the money gang in Yun City, named Sun Yaeyang. The man was considered a fairly notorious ruffian in the outer city of Yun City. Due to his gambling addiction, he frequently gambled away his family fortune at the casino and borrowed high-interest loans. As a result, he often engaged in petty theft and deceitful acts in his daily life. Lord Sun, why are you here? Seeing Sun Yaeyang appear, Liu Jiang was instantly terrified, quickly covering his money pouch, fearing he might be violently beaten and robbed of his money. Rest assured, such a small amount of money you're carrying isn't worth my attention. I'm here to inquire about some news from you. How many outsiders have entered Yun City recently? Sun Yaeyang looked at Liu Jiang disdainfully, not putting the small amount of money Liu carried in his eyes. After all, he was planning big trades and held little interest in such trivial amounts. Lord Sun, are you planning to rob those people? Liu Jiang instantly understood Sun Yaeyang's intentions. Without a doubt, those outsiders had no roots in Yun City, having just moved in, surely carrying quite a bit of wealth. To Sun Yaeyang, they were essentially plump targets. Should he seize the opportunity for a heist, his expenses might be covered for years. Don't be nosy. Just speak when you're told to speak. Meddlesome people can quickly find themselves dead. After all, I'm quite aware of where you live. Sun Yaeyang squinted his eyes and spoke with a faux smile. Lord Sun, I'll speak openly and comprehensively. Whatever you wish to know, I can tell you. Immediately shrinking back, Liu Jiang knew he couldn't afford to offend someone as deadly as Sun Yaeyang from the money gang, especially since he was merely a broker. Excellent, who are the couple renting here today? They managed to rent a house for 10 taels of silver. They must be carrying significant wealth. Clearly, Sun Yaeyang had set his sights on Jiang Fan and Su Weiwei, his eyes glinting fiercely. Lord Sun, I advise against provoking them. From my years of experience, Lord Jiang might not be someone easy to deal with. He could very well be a martial artist. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to come to Yun City with so much silver on him. Liu Jiang advised against it. With sharp perception, he could tell at a glance that the couple was not to be trifled with. Shut up. This is Yun City. Even the strongest dragon cannot suppress the snake on the ground. He's a martial artist, but what about me? You're right, we need to be cautious with this. It can't be rushed. If this kid has a background, it might be tricky. Sun Yaeyang's eyes flickered, though he didn't perceive the outsider as a threat, being part of the money gang. The money gang was the #1 gang in Yun City, backed by the Liu family. They monopolized virtually every business in Yun City. Even as a small fry under their banner, he could intimidate many. But if the person was indeed a martial artist, caution was necessary. He thought it prudent to be cautious, lest he falls into an unexpected trap. He decided it was best to investigate the man's background before making any moves. Night came with only a few stars in the sky. Su Weiwei was inside the house cleaning and arranging furniture. Apparently, the house hadn't been lived in for a long time, so it was quite dusty. As for Jiang Fan, he was in the backyard. Without wasting any words, he started digging around the large tree's soil in the backyard. He dug a full 50 centimeters deep. Then he found a small gray bag in the depths of the earth, about the size of a palm. What is this thing? Could it be some immortal treasure? Jiang Fan squinted his eyes. He had come across 2 immortal treasures before. One was a space ring, and the other a mysterious token. Thus, he was very sensitive to the aura of immortal treasures. The unusualness of this gray bag was immediately apparent to him. Boom tilde tilde. With a thought, he immediately expended his luck points. At once, 10 luck points vanished, and a mysterious energy phased into the gray bag. In the next moment, Jiang Fan felt a mysterious connection between his soul and the gray bag. He thought and was able to open the bag. It's indeed an immortal treasure. It's a storage bag. It has a capacity of 30 cubic meters, even bigger than the previous space ring. Jiang Fan was immediately overjoyed. Frankly, he welcomed space-type treasures to store more resources. For example, various foods. He could store several years' worth of food now. With his cultivation steadily increasing, so was his appetite, and the previously stored food wouldn't last much longer at this rate. The appearance of this storage bag was a timely boon, solving the issue of food storage. But he quickly noticed that the storage bag seemed to contain some treasures. Perhaps these were the real find. The storage bag might just have been a bonus. Wait, this seems to be blood ginseng pills. Jiang Fan's eyes lit up suddenly upon discovering a bottle of elixirs inside. According to Cao's poison scripture, blood ginseng pills primarily came from 100-year-old blood ginseng and were extremely beneficial to martial artists' cultivation, even more precious than tiger and leopard pills. Taking one blood ginseng pill could save a martial artist 5 years of hard cultivation. There were 5 blood ginseng pills inside. If he consumed all of them, he might soon become a martial artist in the refining organ realm. Upon reaching the refining organ realm, even within Yun City, he'd be considered a top expert. He could easily become the leader of a gang or an honored guest elder of certain noble families. Such an expert could earn several hundred taels of silver in just 1 month effortlessly. In the wide world, except for grandmasters, no one could thwart him. There seems to be a secret manual as well. Jiang Fan inspected further and found 2 secret manuals within. One was Cyan Wood Formula, and the other was Cultivator's Basic Explanation. Furthermore, there appeared to be numerous annotations. Clearly, the manual's owner had put significant study into them. Cultivator, not a martial artist. Could this be an immortal secret manual? Seeing the contents, Jiang Fan felt his heart racing with excitement to an extreme degree. 7th grade opportunity. Surely it was a 7th grade opportunity. This was not merely obtaining an immortal treasure. It also allowed him to acquire immortal secret manuals. As expected, this world indeed contained cultivators. Martial artists were merely the beginning. Only cultivators who wielded extraordinary power stood at the pinnacle of the world. Undoubtedly, this opportunity paved a path for him towards becoming a cultivator. Chapter 65. Chapter 65. Entering the Tao through martial arts. Innate martial artist. Half an hour later. Jiang Fan first restored all the soil here, then took the storage bag back to the bedroom and started to study the Cultivator's Basic Explanation. And this secret manual is an autobiography. It is evident that the owner of this secret manual claimed to be Taoist Liu, a 3rd-layer Qi cultivation cultivator. Due to his low spiritual root talent, after decades of arduous cultivation, he was still only at the 3rd layer of Qi cultivation. There was basically no hope for further progress. Thus, with a heart full of despair, Taoist Liu left the cultivation realm to return to the mortal world to marry a beautiful wife and enjoy riches and honors. Unfortunately, when he returned to the Wei Kingdom, Taoist Liu was extremely unlucky and was attacked by other cultivators on the way, severely injured and near death. In the end, he hid in Yun City and died of his heavy injuries. Before his death, he buried his lifetime treasures under a big tree, hoping someone destined would find them. As a result, this storage bag had been buried here for a long time and was never found by others. Could it really be a cultivator? Jiang Fan was very excited. He continued reading, but found it was all about the life experiences of Taoist Liu, like a diary. And it was all about his grievances. Roman 20 month, Roman 20 day, arduously cultivated for a day, gained nothing, spiritual power increased minutely. Is it true that cultivators with low-grade spirit roots aren't suited for cultivation? No, my fate is determined by myself, not by heaven. I must advance to foundation establishment and slap those dogs' faces, make the woman who abandoned me cry and beg for mercy. Arduously cultivated for a day, spiritual power increased minutely. Cultivated arduously again, progress in cultivation is still unattainable. If only there were elixirs to take, a single elixir would be worth months of arduous cultivation, but alas, I am short on funds. Roman 20-month Roman 20 day, feeling frustrated, went to a brothel with a friend. These seductive women are truly skilled. Although I lost some money, my heart is relieved and a breakthrough in cultivation is imminent. Careless, I still underestimated the bottleneck. Cultivation is still unable to break through, going to a brothel to relieve my boredom again. No more, can't go again. Those brothel seductresses are simply not human. All bone-corroding soul devourers, Taoist Liu, maintain your resolve, can't go again. Roman 20-month Roman 20 day, went to a brothel to gather with fellow cultivators. Those seductive women are no match. Money ran out. The brothel truly is a money pit, consuming who knows how many friends' fortunes. Sigh, I thought there was a connection with Sister Li, but in the end, it was just a transaction. Forget it, I should return to the mortal world. The cultivation realm is not for me. Seeing the above content, Jiang Fan's mouth twitched and he was speechless. Taoist Liu didn't seem like a cultivator, but a brothel addict. Drunkenly indulging in brothels every day, abandoning cultivation. But Taoist Liu couldn't be blamed for it. Due to low aptitude, low cultivation, Taoist Liu was a bottom-tier figure in the cultivation realm, at the mercy of others. Bullied and exploited almost daily by high-tier cultivators. Virtually no hope of standing out. At the same time, the cultivation realm was extremely dangerous. Filled with demons, demon cultivators and demon beasts, even tribulation cultivators. Low-tier cultivators were simply vulnerable, having no sense of security. Cultivation stage cultivators often fell, dying without a trace. So Taoist Liu decided to return to the mortal world, to enjoy wealth and honor, no longer craving for longevity. Who could have thought, even after returning to the mortal world, he couldn't escape his fate? He was attacked by hidden cultivators in the Wei Kingdom and died an untimely death. Seems like the cultivation realm isn't such a good place either. Jiang Fan's face was very grave. Obviously, wherever there are people, there's a martial world. Cultivators are not exempt. Even if they have extraordinary power, their essence is still human. So naturally, they cannot avoid various conflicts. And the cultivation realm is such a jungle society where the strong prey on the weak. However, even so, it could not extinguish his ambition to become a cultivator. After all, it is the path to immortality. If unknown, it wouldn't matter. Once known, who would be willing to give it up? Luckily, it also recorded how to become a cultivator. The method to become a cultivator is simple. You need to have a spirit root. Without a spirit root, you cannot perceive the spiritual chi between heaven and earth. In this way, no matter what, you cannot step onto the path to immortality. Jiang Fan frowned upon reading the notes. If that is truly the case, then wouldn't mortals without a spirit root never be able to cultivate cultivation methods in their lifetime? Even if they obtained a cultivation secret manual, they couldn't practice it. It's like a chasm blocking countless mortals from the path to immortality. Fortunately, it seemed to also describe the method for mortals to cultivate. Mortals without a spirit root can still cultivate. The only path for mortals is martial arts. Skin tempering, refined flesh, strong tendons, bone forging, refining the organs, grandmaster, finally reaching the innate realm. Step by step advancing, ultimately, when advancing to the innate realm, you can enter the Tao through martial arts. Reaching the level of heavenly and human communication, thereby nurturing a spirit root. Therefore, if mortals wish to cultivate, they must practice martial arts, become innate martial artists, and nurture a spirit root. Jiang Fan's eyes suddenly lit up, feeling very excited. He feared most the lack of a method to cultivate. Fortunately, there is always a way. Mortals can enter the Tao through martial arts and nurture a spirit root, embarking on the path to immortality. But it's unfortunate that using this method to nurture a spirit root will mostly result in low-grade spirit roots. Even if they enter the cultivation realm, they cannot achieve much. At most, they only have the qualification to cultivate. But there's no absolute in the world. There exist supreme martial arts in the world. If one can learn them, their physical fitness surpasses other martial artists. This will also establish an unparalleled Tao foundation. Such martial artists, once they reach the innate realm, can nurture middle or even high-grade spirit roots. Jiang Fan squinted, looking at the information recorded above, feeling his heart stir. Because the soaring snake technique he was practicing was undoubtedly such supreme martial art. If one enters the Tao through the soaring snake technique, he might nurture a strong spirit root, instantly gaining superior spiritual root talent. He felt lucky, indeed extremely fortunate. From the beginning, he obtained the soaring snake technique and laid a strong martial foundation. If it were an ordinary martial arts technique, even if he became an innate martial artist, it would probably only nurture a low-grade spirit root. Is this Cyan formula the cultivation technique? Jiang Fan looked at the secret manual. He tried practicing it and found he couldn't comprehend it at all. It seemed that even his life chart couldn't incorporate this technique. Undoubtedly, although this technique is a cultivation method, it's not suitable for him. At least he will have to wait until he nurtures a spirit root to cultivate this Cyan formula.